Hi, Dr. Nance. Hope you're doing well. Patrick again. I'm looking forward to sharing my thoughts and key takeaways from Module 2, Chapters 5 and 6 of the Principal as Curriculum Leader, as well as how they align with my personal experiences in education and how the interview with a currently seated principal in one of my school district schools actually went. Now, having worked as a middle grade science teacher and CTE instructor in the secondary space, and of course now as a professional development specialist, I've seen firsthand how curriculum leadership plays out at multiple levels. As a classroom teacher, as a high school teacher, even as a college teacher at the Mary Lou Fulton Teacher College, and then of course, in kind of the middle management, middle leadership position where I'm at right now, and then of course in some of the committees and the boards that I take part in. So, one of the most striking things from this module is the complexity of curriculum alignment, balancing district expectations with the needs of individual schools and students. So like I said, I interviewed a guy named Dr. Aaron Parsons, who's the principal of our Southwest campus. So I'll show you this right here. If you care to actually look at our resources that we have on our website, you can just go to west-mech.edu. And you can see right here that this is the Southwest campus, and they do a video walkthrough of it. It's actually really cool. Of course, there's probably going to be some sort of commercial here. Let me just mute that and do a little skip action. I highly encourage you to watch this particular video, and I'll be happy to share the link directly to it in the comments. But this kind of showcases some of the programs at our campus and the layout and what it looks like. So this is a real school, and Dr. Parsons is a real person who I interviewed. I just want to be very clear on that. And if you need any further proof, I'm happy to give it to you. So again, that's our Southwest campus. I want to talk to you a little bit about, some of my experience with curriculum and how I have participated in helping inform the curriculum direction and choosings and offerings in our state as in the CTE space. So I am the vice president of our Career and Technical Education Association for Arizona. Now, that right there is just really more about the advocacy piece, which I'll talk about in the conclusion here about how, being political and apolitical and all that fun stuff. But really, this is me being political. This is me being a part of a committee where, and not just a committee, but a board where I'm listening to the voices around the state, and then I'm going and advocating at the state and congressional levels to get more funding, to get better resources for our people in career and technical education. But really, truly, the cool one that I'm a part of is a committee called the Arizona Career and Technical Education Curriculum Consortium. I know, it's ASTEC for short. So this particular organization is a collaboration between multiple CTEDs, as well as the Department of Education, business and industry, and multiple other stakeholders. And we meet 4 times a year to look at what curriculum offerings we have based on the program offerings from our various CTEDs. And we seek to build resources for them and also align them, of course. So huge portion of what I do is working with teachers and using this as the resource to give to our teachers, especially those that are coming from industry, who don't even know what they're walking into. There is no standard curriculum for many of the programs that we have. For example, when I started teaching as a coding instructor, been doing software and application development for high school students, I had absolutely no curriculum, none whatsoever. I had to piece it all together. Funny enough, that same thing happened when prior to that, when I was a middle grade science teacher. The Arizona science standards are a little weird, and the curriculum offerings are not robust. So anyway, one of the most striking themes from this module is the complexity of curriculum alignment, which I found, I've always kind of been like, why is this so difficult to do? Why is this so tough? But Dr. Parsons, who I talked about, principal of the Southwest campus, highlighted in his interview with me that while there's district guidance, they kind of really leave it open for interpretation at the school level. And this, yes, it leaves a lot of ambiguity, but as you progress and you begin to build skills as a teacher or as a curriculum instruction specialist, and you're working in this and you're starting to realize it's great because it gives you the flexibility that you need to meet the students where they're at. Another key takeaway from the module was the importance of leveraging data to inform curriculum decisions. Dr. Parsons mentioned how he is beginning to use generative AI to identify trends in student performance and instructional effectiveness, which aligns with the module's emphasis on data-driven leadership. However, we also have a dedicated data specialist at our district. She's our researcher, and she's the one that puts together all of these beautiful charts, graphs, trends, and all that stuff. And then our principals meet quarterly to do data days. And so they actually, together as a PLC of administrators, get together and look at the data in order to make informed decisions about what should be appropriate for curriculum. And speaking of curriculum, at our district, we have a dedicated curriculum and instruction department that is led by a director. That director then, interprets whatever the board and, of course, whatever our cabinets say. And then they work with teachers on an individual basis and then work with, site administrators on a school basis in order to make sure that curriculum resources are aligned. Now, one of the ongoing challenges discussed in this module is resource alignment, ensuring that instructional resources such as textbooks, technology, and professional development opportunities align with curriculum goals. This is easier said than done. And in my experience, districts often provide a framework, but the onus kind of falls on the individual schools to make it work in the classroom. This ties into the module's discussion about the need for collaborative approach involving teachers, administrators, and district leadership to ensure that cohesion without stifling creativity and autonomy, which, yes, we want creativity and autonomy, but they got to have a starting point. And I think that that's why I like the level of flexibility that it gives. Now, this is the last part, and the part that always kind of gets me a little fired up, which is that, this module reinforced this idea that there's an undeniable reality that public education is inherently political. It is. I've tried to avoid the political side of things for my career. I served in the military for 20 years as well as being a teacher. So I did both. I had to straddle both worlds, conservative and progressive, fairly balanced there. So it was a real challenge, and trying to stay apolitical is a very difficult thing to do. Now, it's easier to do when you're in the classroom. However, as you start to move up in leadership and responsibility, you start to realize that there's no one else going to advocate for kids. There's no one else that's going to advocate for teachers. So as a principal, as a vice principal, as a curriculum leader, as a person who is an instructional leader, part of the responsibility is that you've got to become political. You've got to advocate for kids. You've got to advocate for your school. You've got to advocate for funding. You've got to advocate for more jobs. You got to advocate, and you need to know your stuff if you're going to advocate. If you're going to go and you're going to talk to Congress, or you're going to go and you're going to lobby the legislature, you better have data. And you better have your experience, and you better have all these good points to try to make, and be expecting to hear the word no a lot. So in conclusion, this module reinforced what I've already learned through experience. Effective curriculum leadership is about balance between structure and flexibility, between autonomy and accountability, and between innovation and standardization. My conversation with Dr. Parsons provided practical insights that support the concept we've explored, and it's clear that curriculum leadership requires constant adaptation, collaboration, and yes, a little bit of politics. Thank you very much for watching my reflection, and I look forward to continuing this fun adventure with you, sir. Have a good one.